Now, let's go back in time together, to a time when money didn't even exist in history. A time when people didn't carry coins in their pockets, but carried loads on their backs. Because back then, what we call shopping today was very different. No gold, silver, or copper coins. No wallets. Maybe not even pockets. No cards. No cash. QR codes? Not even a dream. Because money hadn't been invented. People didn't buy things. Instead, they traded whatever they had. So it was basically, I give you this, you give me that. In other words, barter. But here's the interesting part. Not everyone had everything. Because civilizations could only produce what their geography allowed them to. For example, people living in fertile lands could produce lots of wheat and barley. But let's say those people didn't know how to work with metal, or maybe they didn't even have access to it. And right at this point, another civilization steps in. People living in mountainous regions, they couldn't really farm, but they could mine. This civilization was extracting and working with metals, like iron and copper. So both sides needed each other. On one side, my stomach is full, but I have no tools or metal. On the other side, I have metal and tools, but I have no food. And the solution? Barter. Just imagine. A farmer walks to another civilization carrying sacks full of wheat. He meets a blacksmith. The farmer says, I'll give you wheat. You make me a plow. The blacksmith accepts. Honestly. He kind of has to. He needs food too. And the deal is made. That's how barter worked. But this system wasn't as easy as it sounds, because people didn't always need the same things at the same time. For example, our farmer has wheat, but he wants shoes. He goes to a shoemaker, offers wheat, but the shoemaker doesn't need wheat. Maybe he wants cloth, maybe something else. Let's say he wants cloth for the shoes, and the farmer really wants those shoes. So, what happens? First, he has to trade his wheat into cloth, then trade that cloth for shoes. This isn't shopping. This is like a side quest RPG game. Quest 1, find cloth. Quest 2, convince the shoemaker. So suddenly a simple trade turns into a 2-3-step process. Can you imagine being stuck in something like that? And what if the farmer finally brings the cloth, and the shoemaker says, I don't like the color. Now what? Yeah, not so easy, right? And carrying goods was another problem. Animals, for example, trying to walk long distances with a cow, not exactly practical. Or think about this. You have tons of grain, carrying it everywhere, storing it, protecting it. It's difficult, but still, people had to use this system because there was no other option. Over time, some goods became more valuable than others, especially things that were durable, easy to carry, and needed by everyone. And the most important of these? Grains, wheat, and barley. In almost every civilization, they became a kind of standard of value, because everyone had to eat something. So wheat wasn't just food, it was also a unit of value, like money, but not something you carry in your pocket, more like something carried on animals or in wagons pulled by them. You can think of it as early-stage money, and, just like that, salt was also very valuable. Because it wasn't just for food, it was also needed to preserve food, to keep it from spoiling. So in a way, it was life-saving. That's why in some places, people were even paid with salt, even if it's a bit mixed with legend. Let's talk about it. In the Roman Empire, it's often said that soldiers were paid in salt. During ancient Rome, the salary given to soldiers was called salarium. It comes from the Latin word sal, meaning salt, And this word is the origin of the modern word salary. Roman soldiers were paid in salt. This sentence is not completely true, but it's not completely wrong either. The truth is, they were usually paid in silver coins, but salt was extremely valuable and connected to the payment system. And the word salarium comes from this connection. And here's the best detail. The phrase we use today, "he is not worth his salt," comes from here. But still, no matter how much people improved the barter system, some problems always remained. People couldn't match each other's needs at the same time. Measuring value was difficult, and large-scale trade was almost impossible. And right at this point, people realized something. We need a more practical system. And that idea opened the door to one of the greatest inventions in history: money. But that story is for another video.